All right, what's up, everybody? It is your boy Adrian Nyce. Welcome to another episode of Mouthin Out. Right now, we are in Audio Box Studios, the world famous Audio Box Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today, I'm here with
Mr. J.
Mr. J in the building. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good. It's going.
I see you rocking your Carolina hoodie and everything.
Represent the home team.
Oh yeah, man. So, are you born and raised in Carolina?
Actually, I've been here for a long time, but I was born in Trenton.
Trenton. And then when did you move down?
Probably about 11, 12. Yeah.
Years ago.
No.
At 11. Woo!
Yeah, age. Yeah.
So you've been here a while, man, and you've got to see the city and like all Carolinas actually grow. Like, how is seeing that? Like seeing what it was maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago to where it is now.
Well, I mean, it's exciting. It's just being able to see different pockets of things, go on. Especially, I'm from Fayetteville, so, seeing the evolution of, our scene and seeing the evolution of, Raleigh and Durham and Charlotte. It's exciting. It's inspirational, really, because this is what I wanted when I first started. Like we need these, scenes and being able to tap in with different people and then just interact.
Big facts, big facts. Okay, let's get a little, talk about a little bit about your background. What was it like growing up for you, Mr. J?
It was basically, I came down here, like I said, 11 or 12, moving from, New Jersey to the Carolinas was kind of a culture shock at first because, we didn't move directly into the city of Fayetteville. We kind of were out in the outskirts for a while, and it's just a different atmosphere, seeing things evolve, keeping it 100 where we were was probably the first place, we didn't really have cable. We had, you had cable before, we came down here, but,
Now you in the country.
yeah, basically, and we didn't have all those different things. You didn't have things to tap into and things to do, so you had to occupy your time.
What was it? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like a culture shock, culture flip from coming from New Jersey to, the country. So, I mean, like, what was that like to you? Like, was it kind of like, wow, where am I at? I'm in the Twilight Zone, man.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, got to adjust to a new thing, new settings, new things to do. Like I said, I just had to figure out how to occupy your time, and that's where music kind of came in, just figuring out how to occupy my time and, write and, just figure out what I wanted to do.
And so, as far as music goes, when you was your family in the music? Did they play music around the house, or were they in the industry at all? Or
Nobody was in the industry, but trying. Yeah, nobody was trying to be in the industry, but church folks. So mother sang in the choir, aunts, uncles sang in the choir, stuff like that. So music was around.
got you. And so, at what age did you start? I guess getting into more like I want to be an artist. I want to start making my own music, or I either want to start making beats, engineering, or what age did you start getting?
Well, I started really trying to get into the studio. I guess 14, 15, 16, those that era, that age. Started doing talent shows at the high school and different schools around the area, trying to do different things. So that was kind of my foray into it. Like I said, I went to the studio about '94 was the first time I recorded my first single called Way East Side, and that was one of those things that like just pushed me to do it even more, and started trying to build a collective. It was called the Omega Clan at the time, so it was starting.
Omega Clan.
Yeah, it was four of us, and it kind of grew into a bigger thing. We kind of went to 12, then went to 32. It was just a big collective.
32 people. That's crazy. And did everybody do music, or everybody, a portion of the people had different roles within it?
Well, we had a couple, managers. We had rappers, singers. And that was our collective. That was what we were doing, and we started doing, talent, trying to do talent shows at different high schools around town, and ended up working with the radio station at one point, um, there in the area, and doing different little small shows and things like that around.
I cannot imagine like a collective of 32 people just pulling up to like a talent show. Like everybody's gonna recognize you though. That's one thing I can say about people who do move in like mobbish type units. People know when you're in the building. People know when you arrive, and all eyes are on you. And you won't have to worry about like energy in the crowd because that helps. When you are performing or whatever. Okay, and you said what was your first single?
That's called Way East Side.
What's that about?
It was just kind of talking about the city, talking about how we were doing things or whatever. Just kind of that kind of laid back vibe.
Interesting. And then Omega Clan. I like that name, man. How did that name come about? Like,
I can't even really tell you how we even did it. It was just something that just we were kicking around different names, and that just kind of stuck.
and so how? So you continued your music career. So you also own? Did you say a label or management company? A label. So how long did you continue your music career until you decided to transition into owning a label, or did you stop for a period of time and then now you're back into it, or?
Well, I mean, I was always into it. It just kind of either ramped up or went down depending on what was going on. Because, when we had, 32 people, it was hard to wrangle all those different, personalities and different things. So eventually kind of some of those people kind of fell off as things kind of didn't pan out the way we wanted. We did have a label at the time back then, who was interested. We had Warner Brothers who were looking at us, and they were, wanting to give us a development deal at the time. So, but we were kids. We didn't know what to do with that. We didn't understand the business. So, just having different managers and different people come through time after time, we kind of got jerked around, lost some money, different things. So, I was like, well, I want to know more about business. So let me go learn about business. And I went away to school to Rhode Island, to Johnson Wales University for a while, and started doing, little shows there, a couple, shows here, there, and just learning about business and learning to network with different artists from different areas.
So you mentioned that you had your 32 collective, and whether it went down or went up or whatever, and then you said some managers came into the scene, different managers, and you said they jerked you around basically. So like, what was it like? Work trying to get, trying to get management or working with management. Were they just not being honest, or were they just not? I don't know how to word it, but just like, what was that experience like? And then ultimately, was it just like, okay, we're done with this type of thing?
Well, yeah, it was kind of like we were done with certain things, and you had guys who were they had supposedly had some connections in the business, and they had learned that they had got jerked around, different publishing things, had gotten taken from them. There was some guys who had, I guess done some music for like Sony and stuff, and they found out that their music had got on other things, and they never got paid for it, stuff like that. And you're just like, okay, well, I don't want to end up in that situation. We had another like an East showcase for like East West Records at the time, and we were all supposed to do it, but we learned that one individual got picked off from the collective, and they did it, and it was supposed to be for everybody. So they just kind of.
So back then, like, how do you? Because now we have like more technology. We have electronic ways of tracking stuff like that. Like, how do you keep up? I'm sure you know more about it now than you did back then. But how would you keep up with, like, if I'm getting, as far as like publishing and copyrights and all that type of stuff, if I'm getting paid or supposed to get paid for something, if it gets.
Well, I mean, we were so much into that as I guess the that time it was definitely paper. It was definitely like you got to wait for the quarter to end for your check or whatever it was. But we weren't so big that we were getting that type of thing. But I was basically doing a lot of the copywriting and making sure it's completely paper. You had to send it in. Then now you got to email it. You got to email your track and everything to the copyright office and have your own your own account. Back then you were doing it paper. It'd be stacks and stacks of paper that you're sending in, and you all got to send it in at one time, or you're gonna have to pay the same. It's the same fee whether it's 1,500 or five. So but just dealing with that. Part of that is what got us some notice from a label like Warner Brothers is we were the first ones online. We had our own little small site. Putting ourselves online. Like one of our original managers, one of the guys had, his stuff. He had access to the internet. Everybody didn't have access to the internet then. You know what I'm saying? So that's what got us. That's what got us that notice. We were kind of ahead of the curve at that point.
Okay, I see this little group out there, Omega Clan. They got a website. Hey, yo, we need to tap in with them. That's dope.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had, not tried to sign on with these other people and just kind of kept, with that little small collective that we had and kept at least, the guy that we were doing it with, management wise.
And so you said Warner Bros was trying to pick you up as far as like a development deal, and did they facilitate like a manager to come in and kind of mediate the situation, or not necessarily a manager, but just some person to mediate the situation, or did y'all find somebody, or did somebody come into, I guess, to try to mediate it? And then you just mentioned that y'all signed with somebody else to, or not management, but just was working with somebody else, or not signed. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, we ended up working with another manager. Ended up working with somebody that we knew. He was actually the father of one of the people who was in the collective. So we got the call, but we didn't know what to do with the call. You know what I'm saying? As far as trying to get on there, and it wasn't anything guaranteed. A development deal means a development deal. If they don't see any potential in what you're doing, you know what I'm saying, then you've got however many songs, that you can't use because they own them. If you
Might be hits, but they can just sit on them.
yeah, I mean, they could definitely sit on them, and then they can say, well, we don't see anything, and then you go off maybe years and years later, and then all of a sudden those things come back up, and like, well, yeah, we're going to make money off of this because now they have a name.
Quick commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, that was the end of that commercial break, and we are back. So what you have learned from you being, from your time of starting music till, your time, and you said Rhode Island, and then you coming to owning this label, all of that experience, you being the artist, and then you learning some of the back end stuff, the business. How do you apply? I'm sure you do, but how do you apply that to your label and the artist that's under your label now?
Well, I mean, it's definitely about keeping track of your business. Definitely doing more networking. I think networking is probably the biggest thing. Being able to tap in with different people who have different avenues of getting your music out there or getting you out there, putting your face in front of people so people know who you are. I think that's the biggest thing, and creating relationships.
Interesting. So you said a big part is getting out there in front of people's faces, letting them know. How do you do that during COVID?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I've had to become more creative. During this time, we've been able to do these little projects and stuff that kind of started before COVID, like these different, couple different movies and stuff like that I've been able to be involved in, and just trying to push the music online, trying to make calls and email different people and find out different people who are doing different things. As really, the internet has really, social media has really helped in that effort, because I mean, there's no shows. There really is no shows, and if there are shows, you're kind of like, I don't know if they're adhering to social distancing and different things. You want to kind of be safe, and you want to kind of make sure everybody else is safe, because you could have the biggest show in the world, everybody's in front of your face, and you're in front of everybody else's face, but then on the back end of that, now you're getting sued because everybody's sick.
That's a fact, and it has happened before. Um, so do you think like the world or just cities will start to open back up and shows will start to coming back into effect, or do you think it'll always be the factor of okay, we need to social distance? Shows won't be like they were.
I think initially shows won't be like they were. I've seen some things on social media, some things on the internet where they're trying to look at what the scene's going to be like. Having people set up in different sections, kind of sectioned off from one another in a show, and it's not being full capacity venues. And I think, especially for the more independent venues, they're going to have to do that because, they don't have the money of Ticketmaster or whoever else to kind of propel them into, keeping their places open. So I think they're going to have smaller different things going on.
So what's the name of your label?
It's NCC Records.
NCC Records. What is that? Is
North Carolina Commission Records.
and what made you go with that name?
Well, I was kind of obsessed with creating something that sounded big. You had different things at the time, like No Limit or something like that. I just kind of felt, the initial logo was like a big a battleship basically. You know what I'm saying? That was the initial logo, but we've since gone to like the old school spray painted, graffiti type logo. But that was the initial logo that kind of like it was going to be the flagship.
We're going to war. No.
Be the flagship for hip hop out of North Carolina.
That's dope. And so, how many artists are signed to your label?
Right now, it's 4. It's myself and 3 other individuals.
And go ahead and you can say their names. We're going to talk about them.
Okay, it's Speak No E and Fifth Letter, and my brother Prince Imperial.
Okay, and so just very briefly, kind of give an overview about each artist, whether they rap, sing, kind of their style, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I mean,
including yourself.
Of course. Each and every one of us is definitely on different levels of being lyrical. I'm of course, the more laid back. Fifth Letter is more technical. Speak No E is kind of more, out there as far as different things. Prince Imperial is more a braggadocio, boisterous, and as a collective, we've we come together as the Empire to give you different levels of lyricism, different levels of storytelling. We want real life stories, real life lyrics, real life songs, not just bragging about what we have, cars, clothes, different things like that. We want to kind of tap into what the essence of hip hop is.
That's dope. That's dope. And how long have they been a part of your label?
Wow, it's probably been more than 10 years, I guess.
Yeah. Y'all been rocking for a while.
Yeah.
That's dope.
We have two albums out. NCC presents The Empire and The Dark Ages. So
The Dark Ages. You can just because I have like a film background, so you can do a lot with like stuff like that, titles like that, just visually, just ideas will just come to mind. So I like your names that y'all be choosing. Names are important. Names are first impression. All that. Names are important.
Definitely important to give people a visual, because if they can see it, they can grab onto it more so than just something that's completely abstract.
And so, music now, the music industry and music now is different than it was 15, 20 years. How have you kind of adapted to the changes and everything like that?
Well, I mean, it's been a great Adaptation. I mean, being able to put our stuff on streaming services, researching different playlists. I think that's the biggest thing. Trying to get on people's different playlists. We've been on a couple DJs playlist. I'm trying to think of Scott LaRock Jr.'s playlist. We've been on a couple other DJs out of Raleigh's playlist. So just trying to get on different people's playlists so you can get on their radar. We've been on a few different mixtapes. I think the Wave 2 is coming out, and I've got a song on that mixtape. We've had a couple different songs on different mixtapes. I'm on a Savage soundtrack, getting the music out like that. Um,
Any major features or anything like that on anybody's music?
we've had features on our album. Some OGs, MC Search, ISIS from X Clan, Craig G. Right now, I've got Mickey Fax. I'm trying to finish up a song with him. I've got it's failing me now. We've got
Some different people.
some different folks.
People.
A lot of folks. We're trying to tap into all different things. Pace One, who was with Eminem back in the day. I got a joint with him. We're just trying to make a whole bunch of different things happen.
What's your ultimate goal or end goal for your label?
Just to be, out here and giving people what they want to hear, good music. I think that's what's, the commercial end of the game is kind of, saturated up with, very similar sounding artists. And, there's a lot of people who are looking for something different. They want a different sound. They want a different thing. They're not just trying to ride the wave, with what's going on with commercial radio. They just want to hear a lot of different things. They want to be able to have a choice.
And dang, see, stuff slipping my mind too, man. Dang, what was I about to say? It was a great question. It'll come back to me. Oh, are you looking to sign new artists, or are you just kind of looking to stay with the four of you guys, or
It depends on what comes along. I think, I'm open to it. I'm open to people who are ready to work. Who understand this is a grind. This is not, getting rich overnight or getting signed overnight. There's a lot of people out here who are like, even with me doing some promotion, back in the day, as far as putting shows on and stuff like that people just felt like, oh, well, if I do one or two shines or shows or songs, I'm getting ready to be on like that. No, it don't work like that, especially not now, because there's so many different people out here. And it's so many people throwing songs up against the wall. That's another thing about what I want to try to do with my label, is just give people music that is timeless, that is not somebody in the studio going, oh man, I did my mixtape last night, you know what I'm saying, 24 hours, I'm done, it's out here, you know what I'm saying, tap in and go put it on.
so y'all actually put quality time into your songs and your albums, mixtapes, EPs?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just what we want to do. Sometimes it's just life. There's 15 million different things going on. You don't get back to the thing that you first started. You got to kind of sit with it for a little bit, and sometimes that's great.
Give me like your ideal artist. Like if you came across an artist that had these qualities, you would just grab them, no questions asked.
Definitely lyrical, definitely hardworking, definitely somebody who has their own vision for their where they want to go. They're not waiting for somebody to hand them a vision or create something for them. They're not trying to be packaged up. They have what they want. They just look for somebody to partner with them who is willing to run the race with them. I think that's important.
Okay, I like it. I like it a lot, man. Do you guys travel, or do you guys kind of just stay within the Carolinas?
Right now
Prior to COVID.
Well, with COVID, we've been, just been, in here around the Carolinas, you know. Prior to, like I said, I've done shows in Rhode Island. I've done shows around here. We have different artists, different parts of the collective who've done shows. Like Speak No E, he's done shows in Baltimore. He's currently in like the Baltimore area right now. So, that's where he's stationed out of. So we got people kind of spread out, doing what they can and doing different things everywhere. We're definitely looking to, hopefully once COVID kind of backs off or we got some clearance where things are, safer, definitely looking to network and do shows, where we can.
In your mind, can you give me like a blueprint slash formula of how you would break a record? Um,
Well, I mean, taking it to the internet, taking it to the DJs, trying to get it on multiple, mixtapes or, just trying to make sure you have the type of video and visuals that you want, with the single so you can go take it to YouTube and try to get those numbers up and look for different avenues and different places to place it.
do you think management is important?
I think management is definitely the right management is definitely important. People with, not only connections but people who are willing to work and willing to, give you the right type of feedback and put you in the places where you need to be.
Do you think you can make it without management?
Um, Not without, dealing with a whole lot of headaches yourself because I mean, basically you are management. You know what I mean? You're becoming the person who's making all the phone calls and, shooting out all the emails and, trying to tap into different places. You know, there's no way you can not be management. You've got to be able to manage your situation and hopefully you have somebody or are able to, come across somebody who's willing to do that.
Um, so, man, um, what's next for you? What's next for you, your brand, your artist? Do we have any singles coming out, EPs, another album?
Yeah, I'm currently working on my album called One Heartbeat Away. I'm hopefully trying to get it done before the end of the year.
Can we get like the exclusive, what it's going to be about, how many songs, all that?
I'm looking to do hopefully 12, 14 songs. I think I'm more than 10 songs in, just kind of, tooling around with, what the next few songs are going to be. Like I said, I got a song with Mickey Fax that I'm working on, finishing up. I'm just kind of, trying to see one or two more, production pieces, one or two more beats to see, what I'm going to be able to finish up. Also, I have the Fifth Letter, his re-release of his album, hopefully before the end of the year, called A Long Time Coming. And of course, we're still going to be pushing The Dark Ages and NCC Records presents The Empire.
How does it work? Like, how do you manage releasing four different people's music without, I guess, overlapping, or if it does overlapping, making sure this one doesn't outshine this one or take away from the other one? How do you manage that?
I think it's not necessarily worrying about, let the music do what it's going to do. I mean, especially now, everybody, like I said before, people were just throwing singles up against the wall. They're releasing stuff like every single week. Like, oh, I got this new song. I need to go ahead and put it out. I'm like, I've even had, producers and owners of studios say, yeah, man, you need to go ahead and put some more songs out. They need to go ahead and put that out every week. Like, you're kind of like, you're kind of flooding the market. Nobody gets to sit with a song and live with a song and see, if they really like it or not. You just already hitting them over the head with something else the next week. Like, okay, just to say you're working. I'm like, no, that's not working.
Just to say you're working.
just you know what I'm saying, you're kind of flooding the market with stuff, and nobody gets to live with it. Nobody gets to see, you know, if they like it. They just know, okay, well, I don't know. He puts on a song, so I don't know. If I don't hear this one, I'll hear something else next week. You know.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Um, so with the age of the baby, we have the baby from the Carolinas. He blew up, became one of the top artists in the whole entire world, um, and just totally dominated the industry. So with the age of the baby, we have Tusi doing his thing, Black Zach, South Coast Music Group, their label. Do you think that artists in the Carolinas can can we officially say like we can make it here, or do you still think in some aspect we have to still go out, travel to L.A., bigger markets, New York to kind of pop off?
Um, I think where you are is where you know people will hear you. I think with the advent of like I said, social media, people are going to hear you around the world. Like I said, we've done a track with a German DJ called "No Better Than This." That's one of the singles that is out, and he's like I said, he's from Germany. You got to be able to tap in with who you can tap in with, and the network is important because you're going to be everywhere, everywhere you can get in. Social media puts you there. It has made it easier for people to be able to do it from where they're at. You know, like I said, well, Baby's the latest, but I mean, we've had PD, we've had Little Brother, we've had the whole Justice League collective, we've had even smaller artists like Nyce, Yang Fu Front. They're the OGs. Um, you know, Rhapsody. You know what I'm saying? Ninth Wonder. There's this
The list goes on.
list goes on. Yeah, it's a large collective of folks. You know what I'm saying? Who've been able to do it from here. So you can do it from here, but of course, if you're going to tour, you got to go everywhere.
That's true. That's true. You definitely gotta go everywhere. Get all them faces, get all them fans, build that fan base, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And so I have this last segment called, well, actually, I have two segments. The first segment is called What the F is Going On? Okay. So, what the F is going on? What the F is going on with my man Donald Trump, man? How you feel about Donald Trump? Are you a supporter of Donald Trump? Are you not a supporter of Donald Trump? How you feel about the whole election? People have been saying like this is the worst, whole process throughout the whole.
Um, every year somebody says it's the worst. We got the worst choices. We got the worst. We only got two different choices. Two wings. The whole bird's rotten. You know what I mean? But you got to hold your leaders accountable. I've said this before to other people. You got to hold them accountable. You have to. If you're a prayerful person, pray. If you're a person who likes to write, to your congressperson, your representatives, do that. If need to call everybody, call them. You know what I'm saying? If you need to go on change.org and put up a position, do that. You know what I'm saying? I am by no means a Trump supporter. Initially, I said, he was, going to be who he was, and that's who he became. You try to give everybody their shot, at least a little bit in the initial,
For the doubt.
yeah. You try to give them the benefit of a doubt, but like I said, at the end of the day, you got to hold them accountable.
That's true. Okay, and then what the F is going on with all of these rappers dying? I don't know how tapped in you are, but like literally in the last 2 weeks, we've had like 5 huge artists die, and Boosie just got shot up, got shot in the leg, stuff like that. This guy named Sauce Pack, he was from I think he was from the Raleigh area, Raleigh or Greensboro area. He recently died, 16. Crazy future. He just passed. Like, what do you think about all of that?
I don't know how cats are living nowadays. I think folks are getting a little too comfortable. you got to be able to kind of engineer the environment you're in. You can't be everywhere you want to be. You can't go everywhere you want to go. You've got to choose and pick your spots. You got to be able to, like I said, engineer the environment. If there's some folks around here that look kind of shady. They're kind of looking at you like, oh, you look like a snag. You look like, what I'm saying? You look like a lick. It's getting ready to go down. You can't really show up there and be there in those places. You got to look around. You got to know your environment. I'm the type of person, man. I got to know my environment. I can't just show up everywhere, do everything. Even if I'm driving, I'm looking around. I got to know what's going on. I can't just be tapped into. I know people go, oh, the news is so, it's so depressing. This, that, and the other. You got to know what's going on. You got to know where people are at, what they're going through, because that keys you into where you may not want to be.
That's a fact. Okay. And then for this last segment, it's called One Piece of Advice. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you two questions. For the first question, give one piece of advice to up and coming artists in America trying to make it in the industry.
Man, if it was just one thing, well, one thing is network. That's big, man. Find other people to tap into. Find other people who are willing to work with you. I like collaboration. I like finding people who may be the same headspace as me, or somebody who may be completely different from me. I may not necessarily agree with everything they're doing or how their sound is, but I may find something in common that kind of brings us both up. You know what I'm saying?
So network. I'm ask you two more after. So that's that to all up and coming artists in America. Now give one piece of advice to up and coming entrepreneurs who want to start their own music label in the industry.
Same thing.
Network.
But definitely learn about the business. Get your business stuff together. It's not a all one thing. You're not going to learn it all at one time. It's a evolving game. You're going to learn on the job. Your situation is not going to be the same as everybody else's situation. Don't try to compare yourself to somebody else, some other artist, some other entrepreneur, some other person who's doing it. You can take little bits and pieces from what they've done and let it inspire you, and see what you can learn from it, or you may be able to emulate some of it, but you're not going to be able to do all of it. And you can't sit there and go, well, this person's doing this, and this. I should be further along, or I should be doing this or that. And don't let other people tell you that either. Like, people are like, well, you're doing this, and this. Why aren't you further along? Why aren't you bigger? We have a tendency to sit here and not support folks, effort and artistry. We support popularity, and we need to support people's efforts and artistry more than popularity.
Dang. You said it all, man. That's 100%. Definitely don't compare yourself, because, one person's journey is not yours. And then for the last piece of advice, give one piece of advice to 21-year-old you. Give one piece of advice to 21-year-old you. Where was Mr. J? 21-year-old, what was you doing? All of that.
Man, into so much stuff. Just stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Don't get discouraged. Do what you need to do what you want to do.
All right, stay focused. That's advice to y'all too. Stay focused with all these distractions going on in the world. All right, we have come to the conclusion of this episode of Mouthin Out. I am your host, Adrian Nyce. Mr. J in the building. Any last words before we get out of here? Go ahead and drop your social media too, or email if they want to get in contact.
Check out www.empiremusic.com. That's Empire Music, spelled MUSIQ. Go to NCC Records, The Empire on Facebook, NCCCEO on IG, NCC Record Empire on Twitter.
All right. We are out. I'm Adrian Nyce. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment to our channel, Mouthing Out. We're out here doing a thing. F what you talking about, because over here we mouthing out. Peace.